Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth
As it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us of our debt.
And forgive us of our debts.
Forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory. Forever.
Pray. In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Alright. I will do my best
Just change the date.
to try to answer your question according to the scriptures.
Genesis to Revelation.
Nobody have any questions?
Oh, I do.
Oh.
I've got a few actually.
Mm.
So, you know, Julius has been teaching me stuff that he's been learning, and he told me something that I never knew about that when you pray, not only does Jesus hear you, but the devil hears you, hears your prayers. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
So with that being said, he can do things to stop your prayers from being answered.
Right. But you can stop that as well. That's why for the women she's ought to cover her head. Because when she cover her head, she have power on her head. You can read that. Just go to well let me hear the whole thing and before we go to the scripture.
Okay, so basically when we were talking about that, I think that was last night, and he was like, you know how like if you're praying for something that you want, like a new job, and you're praying and then you do get the new job, right? That's definitely God answered your prayer. There's no way that the devil heard your prayer and did something to make you get this job that really wasn't the job for you.
If it's going against the Lord's will. And what I mean by that, as far as like if you trying to take a job, you know, that's you don't care about working on the Sabbath.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't want that kind of job and you working on the Sabbath, that's the Lord's day.
Right. But I guess more what I was trying to say is only God can answer your prayers. So if you're praying and the devil is hearing, he can do things to try to stop the prayers.
He can't stop the prayer. It's all by the Lord's will. The Lord controls it. The Lord controls it all. Satan only doing what the Lord allows him to do.
Right. So how would you? I don't really know what I'm trying to ask.
But let's start with this.
Yeah, just if you could go into more depth about how the devil does hear the prayers as well, and how that.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. And pick it up at verse 10. And when you get it, my brother, go ahead.
For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels.
Why is she going to have power over her head? Because she got a head cover. Well, what angels? Why do you need to have this covering on to have power over your head? Of what angels? Bad angels. That's why you need your head covered. And when you go up a couple of scriptures, it talks about read verse 4.
For every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor his head.
That's right.
But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonor her head. For for that is even all one, as if she were shaven.
Right. So it says, but every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered, she dishonor her head, which would be her husband. You know, you dishonor your head. But what happens when she have her head covered? Read in verse 10. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels, the bad angels. That's why you need to cover your head. That's like we can go, matter of fact, in Numbers chapter 5, it talks about this man, he thought his wife was fooling around on him. So he took it to the priest to perform this it was a jealousy, it's jealousy something, I forgot. But the matter is the fact that before they can perform this procedure on her, they had to take the covering off her head. And once they took that covering off her head, she lost all power on her head. So they can allow these angels to do whatever they want to do with her. Matter of fact, let's read that. Let's read that right quick. Numbers chapter 5. Go to Numbers chapter 5. Numbers chapter 5. And pick it up at Pick it up at 12. No, verse 11.
The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept closed, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither shall she be taken with the manner.
Right, so it says, speaking to the children of Israel and saying to them, if any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man with a carnal mind, with a fleshly mind, another man lay carnally and be hid from the eyes of her husband. So if she go outside of her marriage and commit a trespass and they commit adultery and lie with a man carnally and be hid from the eyes of her husband, try to hide it from her husband and be kept close, she should be defiled, and there be no witnesses against her, neither she be taken with the manner. Verse 14.
And the spirit of jealousy come upon him.
Oh, so the spirit of jealousy come upon him, come upon her husband. Go ahead.
And he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled. Or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled.
Right, so it can go both ways. You know, maybe she didn't do nothing, but the spirit of jealousy could be placed on him if she did something, or a spirit of jealousy was placed on him, and maybe she did not do anything. Keep going.
Then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her, the 10th part of an ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon. For it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance.
Right, so it's an offering, it's a jealousy offering. Jump down to verse 18. Get to the point.
And the priest shall set the woman before the Lord, and uncover the woman's head.
And do what?
And uncover the woman's head.
Uncover the woman's head. Go ahead.
And put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that causeth the curse.
So this is what's going to perform this procedure. But in order for him to do that, the priest to do that, they had to take off her head cover. Now she's vulnerable. And whatever if it comes back that she did something, then the curse is gonna be on her. But if she ain't do anything, whatever's the case. But as far as if you don't have your head covered, that's what you were saying. If you don't have your head covered.
I mean, not necessarily about the covering, just about like when you're praying and you think that your prayers have been answered.
Right.
It only can be God because He has to say so over everything.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Let's go to
If He but He can allow things. Like how they say the devil deceives you and uses trickery and brings things in your life to distract you.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say you were praying for a wife and the devil sent you somebody that you thought was supposed to be your wife. Is that something that could happen?
If you're not careful. Because sometimes we can be asking,
I was just thinking about a minute ago that story where the prophet was told by the Lord not to go and drink or eat in anybody's way, like as he was. I can get it for you, but it talks about how the Lord gave him a certain direction, and then another prophet came out and said, the Lord told me to come and eat and drink, but the Lord never told him. So sometimes you have to watch out. Other people may get in your way and try to get you off that path.
mm-hmm.
That's, that's the way Satan deceived him, but the Lord still allowed it because that prophet then came back and said to him, thus said the Lord, you shouldn't have come in my house.
Right.
That may be a girl.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? You know what that is?
I know. I have to find that scripture.
You want to find it?
Yeah, find that scripture for me.
Get
But
that for me, see, because I'm on the baby.
But when you, that's one of the things that we need to be careful when we ask for things. And sometimes when you ask for something, you may be asking for things without no understanding. Because if you're looking for somebody, like you shouldn't even be looking for just any kind of wife or any kind of husband. You should be looking for somebody that's in the Word of God. And that's who you need to be, because if you just ask for somebody that's come your way, they ain't serving God, but yet, they seem like a nice person, but that's, but then again, once you get to know them, the next thing you know, all kind of red flags throwing up. They're acting all crazy and all that.
1 Kings 13.
And believe it or not, that shows. And we ignore the red flags.
Right. So that's revealing that
wasn't right. Right. That wasn't His will. You need to be looking for somebody according to His will.
Right.
Which would be dealing with the Word of God. But when you read Isaiah 45, verse 7, it says, I formed the light and created darkness. I made peace and create evil.
Right.
I, the Lord, do all these things. So it's all by the hand of the Lord. And we need to choose wisely. And as far as dealing with, as far as looking for somebody. Even with our jobs. If this job, it may be a good paying job, but yet they want you to work on the Sabbath. So I can't do it. So obviously that's not the job for me.
Right.
But yet the Satan, he would entice you with that job because what? You focusing on money. So you might take that job because it's paying some good money. But for somebody that's keeping the Word of God, that's not good for me, even though it is paying good money. But how I'm going to keep the Sabbath. That's more important than this job. What's that scripture?
1 Kings 13.
1 Kings 13? Okay, let's look at it.
Okay, verse 6.
First Kings.
Verse 6.
Okay. Yeah. Pick it up at verse 6. Yeah.
And the king answered and said unto the man of God, entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man
You
of
said
God,
First Kings what?
13.
13. I knew that. Okay. Go ahead.
verse 6.
Uh,
And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. And the king said unto the man of God, come home with me, and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. And the man of God said unto the king, if thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place.
right. So it says, and the king answered and said unto the man of God, entreat now thy face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me. My hand may be restored me again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became it was before. The king said unto the man of God, come home with me, and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. So after this, he restored the king's hand, and the king told him to come home with him. Go ahead. Verse 8.
And the man of God said unto the king, if thou wilt give me half thy house, I will not go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so was it charged by me the word of the Lord, saying, eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest.
Right, so it says, for it was charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. Go ahead.
So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of God had done that day in Bethel, and the words which he had spoken unto the king. Them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, what way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of God went, which came from Judah. And he said unto his sons, saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon. And he went after the man of God, and found him sitting under the oak. And he said unto him,
Jump down to 15.
That's the next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
he said unto him, thou art the man of God that's come from Judah? And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord, thou shalt eat no bread nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that thou came. He said unto him, I am a prophet also as thou art. And the angel spake unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, bring him back with thee into thy house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him. So he went back with him, and did eat bread in his house, and drank water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Lord came unto the prophet that brought him back. And he cried unto the man of God that came from Judah, saying, thus saith the Lord, for as much as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy God commanded thee, but camest back and hast eaten bread and drunken water in this place, of the which of the Lord did say to thee, eat no bread.
Right, but what happened to his disobedience? Jump down to 24.
And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way, and slew him, and his carcass was cast in the way, and the ass stood by it, and the lion also stood by the carcass.
Right, so this is all just by this disobedience by this prophet. But the point of your question was, when you're praying, can Satan intervene what you're trying to ask to God? That's the point of your question. with the pure heart. No, you can't. When you're praying to the Lord, you can't intervene with your prayer, especially when you doing it right. You know, you got your head covered. You know, I face Jerusalem when I pray. Even at my house, I face Jerusalem. You know, but that's a you don't have to if but I pray towards Jerusalem. But nah, he can't because the Lord controls it all, the good and the evil. You know, if you seeking Him with a pure heart, and you doing what you're supposed to be doing on your end. Say he could try, but he can't do nothing about it. He try all you want. But
just like now she's saying, just like what Daniel was.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Let's go to that. Let's go to Daniel 10.
And Michael went and shut that down.
Yeah, he came on that. So he had a fight on 3 years.
Right. You knew exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Let's go to Daniel 10. And let's put another verse. Verse 1. Yeah, we need it too.
In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. And the thing was true, but the time upon it was long. And he understood the thing, and had the understanding of the vision. In those days I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled.
Right, so here's Daniel, he's seeking the Lord, seeking wisdom from the Lord for 3 whole weeks. Go ahead, verse 4.
And in the 4th and 20th day of the 1st month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Ezekiel.
Yeah, that's good.
Then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of the lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. And the voice of his words were like the voice of a multitude.
Right, so here's this angel coming up to Daniel, verse 7.
And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, but the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone, and saw this great vision. And there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. Yet heard I the voice of his words. And when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face towards the ground.
Right, so we still here dealing with Daniel, trying to seek some wisdom from the Lord. And he sent this angel. And it says, therefore I was left alone. In verse 7 it says, and I, Daniel, alone saw the vision. For the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them. So they had fled and hid themselves. So the men that was with Daniel, they just bolted, they just left. And it says, therefore I was left alone, and I saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned into corruption, and I retained no strength. He was weak. Verse 9.
Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground.
Verse 10.
And behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee I am now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words.
Oh, so this angel said thy words was heard, because he was sent by the Lord. Verse 13.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia.
Right, so it says, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Who we talking about here? We talking about Satan. Trying to hinder this information from Daniel. Right there in the mix. But it says here, but lo, Michael, one of the chief prince, came to help me, which is another angel. Came to help me. And I remained there with the kings of Persia. Go ahead.
Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days. For yet the vision is for many days. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spake, and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, for the vision of my sorrows are turned upon me, and I have retained no strength.
That's right.
For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this? For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway there remained no strength in me, neither is there breath left in me.
Right. So even with this story here, you have, Daniel trying to seek wisdom from the Lord. And then you have this it said this prince, the kingdom of Persia, trying to hinder Daniel from getting his answer. But yet this angel came down and fought this
So who's the prince of the kingdom of Persia? So just so we know who
Satan.
Okay.
And then you got Michael. It says, but lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came and helped me. So when you praying to the Lord, of course Satan is right there. His job is to get in your head and for you to think other things than serving the Lord. Or thinking anything, asking, and you putting the Lord first. Because a lot of times we don't do that. Especially when we come out looking for jobs, we don't think about the Sabbath. We're just thinking about a good paying job to take care of our family. But we don't ask for, Lord, I need a job, please. I need to keep the Sabbath as well. We don't never consider the ways of the Lord and to come down to ask him. But once we start doing that, Satan can't, he can try. Like I said, he can try, but he can't hinder that. But you said you had a few though. You had a few questions.
Yeah, but if anybody else has any questions, I
No,
don't want to take up the.
Proceed.
Something else that Joyce told me is that crosses. I'm going off everything he tells me. The crosses are, what is it, Joyce? Video.
Idolatry.
Yeah.
I was wondering about
You were
like
saying?
yeah, where
Yeah.
You.
So basically, could you just speak about crosses and are they something that we should wear and have around our home or?
Okay. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. Exodus chapter 20. And this is the reason why they don't want to, they say the law is done away with, because everything that people want to do is contrary, is enmity to the word of God. Exodus chapter 20. And pick up at verse 1.
And God spake all these words, saying,
Oh, thank you, bro.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Right, so it says, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Oh, I thought Moses brought them out of the land of Egypt. Nah, it was the Lord. He used Moses. So it says, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Go ahead, brother.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
Any graven image. What is a graven image?
A cross. Jesus hanging.
Things that devices that we make. Crosses.
Fish symbols.
Little fish and little Buddha. Little fat Chinese guy.
Happy Buddha.
That's a graven image. Go ahead, brother. Start over, verse 4.
Yes. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath.
Oh, so we ain't supposed to be making no images of anything in the heaven above, no images of the sun, no images of the moon, stars. We ain't supposed to be making no kind of images that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. So where do we get this fish image?
There you go.
And it's right here in the Bible. Let's go to where is that where they made the molten calf?
Oh, golden calf.
So what about praying hands?
Praying hands, that's an image.
That's an image?
That's an image, right?
Yeah. So there's,
Now, are you talking about praying hands like as a tattoo or actually using like praying
no,
like this?
that's symbolic, like a tattoo or
Okay.
a picture or, you know, a screensaver on your phone, anything like that. So that's a no-no?
Right.
What would be acceptable if you did want something for one of those purposes?
Unfortunately, some things you just can't help. You
Like
can't
a
help.
picture?
Like you have some Bibles with a cross image.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So will I not get the Bible? No, I'm gonna get the Bible because it's the word of God. But some things you just can't help. But the things that you can help, like buying crosses and all that, you can help that.
Right.
You know, but unless you can find a book, unless you just gonna not buy a Bible until you find one with a blank. You know. But it's just a Bible.
Right. So what about images of Christ?
No images of Christ. Let's read that. Let's read that.
I mean, it's not.
Well, hold on, you talking about the
It's
golden calf?
I want to go to that one.
Okay.
What we got now?
I mean, did you see Peter, man, rocking a big old cross? I'd say.
Well,
I'll play
like
that.
it looks silly to me now, but now I'm seeing like why Jesus up on buildings and like, you know, it's like
You
people
start
are
noticing
now
why.
I get it. Months later, I'm like, that looks ridiculous.
That looks ridiculous.
Let's go
Start to rub
to
off.
Exodus 32.
Let me see your phone screensaver, Julie.
Whoa.
Whoa. It's Jesus, man. This is a real image of Jesus. This is Jesus, man.
Show.
That's idolatry, bro. You got the sun. That's the sun disk in the back. That's idolatry, bro. That's sun worship, bro.
Listen to your wife, bro.
What is he calling that?
Hey, can we please keep it down? We in Bible Q&A,
Oh, we're lying.
and we're live. And Brother Nate is definitely watching. 32. You probably like, why did he say that? Yeah, start at verse 1. No, it's just, I'm sorry, just before you start, it's just that, you know, it's just conducting this in a good fashion. You know, we all adults here, you know, that's it. Verse 30, chapter 31, verse 1.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, See, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of
Where you at?
Exodus
32?
31.
No, 32. 32 in verse 1.
Okay. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall be before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
Right, so here's Moses. He went up to the mount to, you know, to talk with, to be with the Lord. It says, and when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, it said the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods. That's what the people said. Make us gods. They told Aaron, which shall go before us. Now, mind you, they saw the works of the Lord, what he done in Egypt. He didn't, and then when in addition to that, he split the Red Sea and allowed them to go through on dry land. So now Moses went up to the mount, and the people started getting antsy. They started like, hey, you know, what's going on with Moses? You know, hey, you taking too long? Aaron, get up. Make us gods. Go ahead, verse 2.
And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, and of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me.
Right, so break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives and your sons. So the wives had earrings, the son had earrings, and your daughters had earrings. So it's not it's not a sin to wear jewelry. It's just when you start to idol worship it. You know, when that's all you start to be about is your earrings. You know, that's when it becomes a problem. But you have some religions that say wearing jewelry is a sin. Verse 3.
And all the people break off the golden earrings which were in the ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graven tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
Oh, so they used their earrings, and then it says in verse 4, and he received them out of their hand and fashioned it with a graven tool. And it says, after he had made it a molten calf, and they said, These thy gods. These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is the feast of the Lord. And they rose up early on the morning and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink, and to drink, and rose up to play. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I have commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
Right, so in verse 7 it says, and the Lord said unto Moses, go get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have corrupted themselves with what? Because they made a golden image. They made, this golden calf. And not only they made this golden calf, in verse 6 it says, and they rose up early the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down and ate and drank and rose up to play. They was having a blast. Moses wasn't down here. Aaron, I guess Aaron was like almost like a little pushover. I guess, but then again, he probably wasn't. But it's just him by himself. You got the whole children of Israel. And they coming up to you to my aid. Make us some gods. And he did exactly what they said. Because they probably, if he would have denied it, they probably would have stoned him to death. They probably would have killed him. But even the Lord told Moses that you need to get down there. It says in verse 8, they have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. It said quickly. They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it. And that's what you're doing. See, people think when they get the cross, they think they worshiping Jesus. The cross does not have anything to do with Jesus. Because it's not like that was the first time they crucified they crucified somebody. They was using them crosses to crucify people before Jesus. That was a Roman way of punishment. That's just like today. You have the electric chair. So I guess if Jesus was electrocuted by an electric chair, we walking around here with electric chairs all over on our necks. But it's the truth. It's facts.
That's crazy.
But it's idolatry. That's all it is. It's idolatry. It's an image, and all this stuff is basic because you can go online. You can type up idolatry, and they'll show you all different kinds of symbols, and the cross is one of them. Then you got the upside down cross, and then you got the ark, which is like a little circle with the cross going. There's all kinds of idolatry. But let's go to let's go to Deuteronomy.
What did David start?
Deuteronomy.
There's some writing about dang, she said it's like a black one. Shut.
Matter of fact, trying to find that one.
Deuteronomy 4.
Is it 4?
Starting at 16.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one. Yep, that's the one. Deuteronomy 4, that's what I was looking for. Appreciate it. Deuteronomy 4, and pick it up at verse 16.
Lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female.
Oh, so they go to your praying hands. he wasn't paying attention. Matter of fact, pick
Repeat
it
that
up.
more.
Pick it up at verse 14. We're gonna read into it.
And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whether ye go over to possess it. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves. So ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image and similitude.
Lest you corrupt yourselves and make you graven images, the similitude of any figure. Go ahead.
The likeness of male or female.
Oh, the likeness of male and female. You ain't supposed to be making no graven images of nothing. No hands. That's the likeness of male and female, right? Mary. Keep going, brother.
The likeness of any beast that is on the earth.
Oh, your ox. What else they did? Your chicken. They make graven images of anything. Go ahead, brother. Now we're gonna get into that. Go ahead.
The likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air.
Oh, the eagle. Verse 18.
The likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground.
Snakes and all kind of stuff. Go ahead.
The likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth.
Oh, wow. Yeah, brother.
I do have a question though, because I have heard that there are some discrepancies on what jewelry may be constituted as idolatry and then jewelry that's constituted as jewelry. Because like, you may go to like the little alligator farm, they made this little pretty necklace with a little alligator on it. But I mean, that's not, you're not worshiping that, it just happens to be, that particular, where is that in the, because I've heard it both ways. Like, it's not idolatry because it's a jewelry piece, you're not trying to worship an alligator, but then on the other side, it could be idolatry.
Hey, you just read here where it says, in the waters, and the likeness of any beast that is on the earth. So ain't no making no chain out of alligator. That's and the likeness of any beast is on the earth, and the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air. Like, I don't know, like you talk about like a string or like an alligator tooth on it or something.
I was saying like sometimes you'll go to certain parks, like if you go to a zoo, sometimes they may have like, they'll have like necklaces and bracelets with little dolphins and little birds. I mean, I hear that's more of a jewelry piece. Like, they got like the Pandora's thing, and it's got like a soccer ball and you got your favorite animal.
I think the idolatry part would be when you're linking it to a god.
Right, that's what I said. That wouldn't be considered idolatry just because you wear like a little dolphin earring.
Yeah, that would be, if you trying to link it, like the cross, is they linking it to Christ. That's idolatry. The fat Chinese guy, they liken that to Hindu, or what is it, Buddha. It's Asian guy, or whatever you want to call it.
The reason why I was asking, some people got jewelry, like my mother, my car number, not my mentor, but my mother, she collects a lot of she's a wildlife rehabilitator. So she takes birds and stuff like that from the wild, and she'll help them to get back, and then she'll let them fly, whatever. So she has like little parrot, statues, and what I'm saying, just little things that decorate the house, but she ain't bowing down and worshiping to. But that cross, she does also have that cross at home. That shouldn't ever be up. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing but idolatry. That's what I'm saying, just so people don't get crazy and throw everything outside the house. And Julia's got a trash can full of birds, little pumpkins and pears.
But it says here in 18, it says, in the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, and the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. We all know that fish is supposed to symbolize, I guess,
it symbolizes fertility.
Well, according to what the people is surrounding it is by, I guess, because he fed thousands with Two fish and 2 and 5. That ain't got nothing to do with anything. You know, but it also says here in 19, unless thou lift up thy eyes into heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldst be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God had divided into all nations under the whole earth. So you ain't supposed to be making no, graven images of that. And we have the Muslims, they worship the moon and the star, the crescent moon and the star. But the Lord's saying don't do that. And that represent their, their God.
I laughed.
But let's go to Ezekiel.
Welcome to our channel. Ask no questions for constant state.
Ezekiel chapter 6. Ezekiel chapter 6 and verse 9. Pick up Ezekiel 6 and pick it up at verse 9.
And they that escape of you shall remember me among the nations, whither they shall be carried captives, because I am broken with their whorish heart.
Oh, with their whorish heart. Go ahead.
Which have departed from me, and with their eyes, which go a whoring after their idols.
And that's what's going on. Playing a harlot with these other gods. Go ahead.
And they shall loathe themselves, for the devil, for the evils which they have committed in all their abominations.
Right, so it's wrong. That's why I had one guy. I think I told this story last time I was here. Yeah, I came out of Walmart and they had these he was over here selling these handcraft crosses. And I don't know what he was trying to raise money for. He was trying to raise money for something, but I told him, I said, man, that's idolatry. And he tried to fake it like he didn't know. He's like, what? What's that? And I was like, idolatry. You idol worship. Oh, idol worship. You knew what I was talking about. But he's like, man, we're just trying to raise money, this and that. I'm like, if you would have just asked me, hey, we trying to worship, we trying to raise money for our workshop, whatever we got going on, whatever, I would have gave you some money. But once you try to sell me a cross, nah, now you just lost my money. Because I'd have just gave it to you. But you try to tie it in to this cross, and I called you out on it. Then you try to act like you didn't know, but then you knew. That is idol worship.
So how do all these churches have these huge crosses everywhere?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Because they ain't the churches.
Because they're not the church.
We the church.
They're not the
Roman
church.
Catholicism that's indoctrinated. Like the Romans are the ones that the Jews.
That's all the Roman Catholic thing. Let's go to Revelation real quick. Revelation 17. Revelation 17, and pick it up at verse 1.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
And what is this many waters, this great whore that sits on? This many waters represent people. There's many people this whore sits on. Verse 2.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Oh, what wine were they drinking? All different kind of doctrines that this whore possessed. It says, whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Go ahead.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color,
Right.
and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Filthiness of her fornication. And this whore that is talking about is no other than Rome. And it says here, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw the woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemies, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet-colored and decked with gold. And what is their color? Red, purple.
That's Rome also, right?
Rome, purple and scarlet color.
So people would know.
It says, and with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of the abomination and filthiness of her fornication. That's all these doctrines. Verse 5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Right. Why is she the mother of all harlots? Because under this mother of all harlots, she got daughters. When you got the your Baptist, your Pentecostal, your Jehovah Witness, your Seventh-day Adventist, Presbyterian, all these denominations, Lutheran, all these denominations, they're coming out of this whore. They're coming out of Rome. That's where they come from. I got a guy on my job. He swears he say he a Baptist. I told him you Roman Catholic. He looked at me crazy. Tell me anything that came out of a Baptist church that didn't come from Rome. Sunday, going to church on Sunday, that came out of Rome. Christmas came out of Rome. Communion come out of Rome. All these things came out of Rome. But yet they claim to be set apart from the Catholic Church, but your doctrine tells me different. Because your doctrine comes from Rome. So that's why they don't have a problem putting crosses in their church. Because it came from Rome. That's idolatry. They don't have a problem with statues of Mary or whatever is the case. It's all idolatry. But it comes out of Rome. All road, they say, leads back to Rome. So,
Band-Aid.
You got another, you said you got anybody?
Tony wanted that.
Tony? Brother Tony? Oh, here you go.
The men's one.
Whoa. Last time I was here, Sister Claire wasn't here, so I know she got some.
I do. All right, it's in Ezekiel. Chapter 19.
Ezekiel chapter 19.
Verse 2. And I'm wondering what is this referring to, this motherless lioness?
Okay. Alright. Probably gonna have to do some reading. Alright, go ahead, brother. Ezekiel 19. We're gonna pick it up. So you wanna know who this mother is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pick it up at verse 1.
Moreover, take thou up a lamentation for the princes of Israel, and say, who is thy mother? A lioness. She lay down among lions. She nourished her whelps among young lions. And she brought up one of her whelps, and it became a young lion, and it learned to catch the prey, and it devoured many. The nations also heard of him. He was taken to their pit, and they brought him with chains unto the land of Egypt. Now when she saw that she had waited, and her hope was lost, and then she took another of her whelps and made him a young lion, and he went up and down among the lions, and he became a young lion, and learned to catch the prey, and devoured men, and he knew their desolate places, palaces, and he laid waste their cities, and their land was desolate, in the fullness thereof. But the noise of his roaring, by the noise of his roaring. Then the nations set against him on every side from the provinces, and spread their net over him, and he was taken in their pit. And they put him in a ward and change, and bought him to the king of Babylon. They bought him into holes, and his voice should no more be heard upon the mountains of Israel. Thy mother is like a vine in thy blood, planted by the waters. She was fruitful and full of branches by reason of many waters. She had strong rods for the scepters of them that bear rule, and her stature was exalted among the thick branches, and she appeared in her height with the multitude of her branches. So she was plucked up in fury, and she was cast down to the ground, and the east wind dried up her fruit, and her strong rods were broken and withered. The fire consumed them. And now she is planted in the wilderness, in a dry and thirsty ground. The fire is gone out of the rod of her branches, which have devoured her fruit, so that she have no strong rod to be a scepter to rule. This is a lamentation that shall be for a lamentation.
Right. Well, I'm not mistaken, this mother here is talking about Israel. Because it says here, moreover, take up a lamentation for the princes of Israel. So take up the sorrowness for the princes of Israel, and say, what is thy mother? A lioness, she lie down among lions, she nourished her whelp among young lions. Then when you go down to verse 10, because it's talking, when you read throughout it, it talks about it says, and she brought up one of her whelps and became a young lion, and it learned to catch the prey. It devoured men. The nations also heard of him, and was taken in their pit, and they brought him with chains into the land of Egypt. Now when she saw that she was weighted, and her hope was lost, then she took another of her whelps, and made him a young lion. So it's pretty much just talking about all the prince. Go ahead.
So, like, for example, where it says the nation also heard of him. He was taken in their pit, and they brought him with chains unto the land of Egypt. We're talking about, are they talking about Joseph here? Because I feel like, because the impression, I could be wrong, I'm just asking.
Right.
Because I get the impression, like, with each, cub or little lion that, brings up, tot to devour and all that, like, I get the impression like it's another, like, person who leads Israel.
Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like to me. But overall, it's talking about Israel.
Right.
Because this mother here, when you read verse 10, it says, thy mother is like a vine in thy blood, planted by the waters. She was fruitful and full of branches by reason of many waters. So at one point she was strong.
Right. It sounds like Israel collapsed.
Yeah.
Failed, some rulership.
That's why I said, move over, take up a lamentation for the princes of Israel. You know, one minute they was up, then they came down.
Yeah, some of they came down.
And it says in verse 11, and she had strong rods for thy scepters of them that bear rule. And her stature was exalted among the thick branches. And it says, and she appeared in her height with multitude of her branches. So she had high statures at one point. And it says, but she was plucked up in her fury. She was cast down to the ground, and the east wind dried up her fruit. So dried up anything that was, you know, pretty much coming after her. I mean, like far not coming after her, but anything that's in the generations to come. It says, cast down to the ground, it's cast to the wind. Her fruit was, east wind dried up her fruit. Her strong rods were broken and withered. The fire consumed them. And now she is planted in the wilderness, in a dry and thirsty ground.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, waiting for somebody to, like when I read that, I think of like Valley of the Dry Bones. Still talking about Israel. You know, who gonna bring this branch back to life?
So with the whole Egypt thing, sorry to go back, but I was thinking maybe it's not talking necessarily about Joseph or any like, maybe it's talking about people who led Israel in general, but when it talked about Egypt, because it's been talking about captivity.
It could be, you know, but that woman is definitely, to me, that mother, it seems like it's talking about Israel.
Yeah.
How they was once up, then they came down. But I can be wrong though. In verse 14 it says, and fire is gone out of the rod of her branches, which have devoured her fruit, so that she had no strong rod to be a scepter to move. This is a lamentation and shall be for a lamentation. So this is, you know, definitely, you know, Israel at one point was up and now that, you know, they're down.
I don't know how long we were up. I said we were up very long.
But I hope that answered.
Yes. Thank you.
I want to know
Yes, sir.
how many years went by from the time he rescued us out of Egypt. Like, I know we spent 40 years in the wilderness. Like from the time he taught us after the 40 years we spent in the wilderness to when we fell to basically 70 AD. God, I feel like we only acted right for 500 years.
Even in 70 AD, you had the tribes that was split up.
Yeah,
10 tribes, they was already in captivity.
That is true. Yeah, 70 AD, there was only 2 left. Judah
and Benjamin.
Yeah, Judah and Benjamin. So the rest of them was already.
There wasn't a third? There wasn't a third?
Nah.
No, because you had Judah, Benjamin, then you had.
Yeah, the Levites was amongst them, amongst everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the Levites. So does that mean that when the other 10 went into captivity, did all the Levites or just the majority of the Levites? Seeing as some were scattered. No? Okay, cool. Yeah, can't really read that.
You just had to bend it.
I was just like,
Yeah,
oh,
time.
I
I wouldn't want to go back to this.
So that was.
Anything? You have anything else?
I want to know where I can read all 12 tribes, like all of them, like, or that, or I can't find that. I can't find like all 12 of them. Like just start reading.
You can find, I think in Genesis.
Yeah,
Or something.
Genesis.
In Genesis. Or like when somebody, Jacob was about to die, he's talking about his children, each one of them.
All 12 tribes.
Is that 42?
Yeah, I'll be looking for all
I believe
12
so.
tribes. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow.
Genesis.
That's like 40.
49.
Yeah. I'm 42.
Mhm.
Yeah, 49. Is that something you want to read? You want to read or?
No, I just want to know, like, I just want to see all 12 tribes names. Like, I've never, like, just sat down and, like, seen all 12 tribes names. I would like to know all the 12.
Well, no, according to 12 tribe, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, yeah.
Shoot, even Joseph got a double portion.
Joseph got what?
Joseph, he got a double portion.
Oh, what you trying to say?
What?
I'm just ain't got nothing to do with me. Well, I have a double portion, a boy and a girl, but nah, this ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, because he had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh.
Right.
You know, and the Lord, they actually named in Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
But now, Ephraim and Manasseh come from his son Joseph, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But they named. Come on, let me see that real quick.
I can't say that. That's the beauty of Puerto Rico.
Right.
According to the chart.
Nah, they wasn't named. I'm sorry. They wasn't named. I thought they was named in Revelation 7.
The 12 gates.
But it was named in if I'm not mistaken, it was in Ezekiel.
They in Genesis. How Ephraim was a mixed cup, or something like a cake mix or something like that. Ephraim.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it's in Genesis though, but I
I
don't
think
know.
it's in
They talk about Ephraim and Manasseh. I don't know what's
where he named them, saying that he was giving the portions to the children of Israel. He was saying that Joseph had a double portion.
Yeah.
he had Ephraim and Manasseh.
I think that's in Ezekiel.
Cake unturned. I don't know. That was in Hosea.
Jacob?
You're talking about Ephraim.
Yeah, that's what they try to say. Ephraim is the Puerto Ricans or something like that.
Ephraim was a Puerto Rican and
Round
Manasseh the
face,
Cuban.
cake turned upside
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
round the bottom.
Cubans and
They be reaching.
Yeah.
They be reaching. Like, really?
Yeah.
They be reaching for real.
Ephraim and Manasseh
Yeah,
was Cuban
that's
and Puerto
like
Rican.
kind of racist.
Exactly.
So Reuben was the son.
A cake turned upside down.
Yeah, Reuben was the firstborn son.
Yeah. We got it. Anybody else?
Anybody else have some questions?
Simon.
When you were speaking on today's lesson in prayer, sir, you mentioned something about like we're not really supposed to pray for riches. Like, can we understand the difference, or biblically, what the difference between riches and actually, like, if you have a lot? Like, I know Abraham had a lot, you know, and I know that Jesus didn't have a place to lay his head, but Abraham wasn't like sinning, and Job had a lot.
Right.
He was in the Word. So how do we know the difference between the Lord just giving you a lot of substance or a lot of prosperity and then riches? Because it talks about it negatively if you're kind of like, it says riches, like you could be deceived by the riches of the world and different things like that.
Right.
I mean, there could be people that have a lot of money and they come into this Word. What, do they just get rid of their money?
Nah, it's, see, people get it twisted when it come down to like riches. When it come down to money, money is just material. This, like, in your situation, in my situation, we're rich because what, we have a family. So the Lord look at that as an abundance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like we filthy rich. We don't even know it. You know, because of the fruit that we have. You know, but according to this world, being rich is possessions. You know, that's why certain people like they don't believe in like abortions because they understand the value of the family, and we don't. That's why we laugh at the Hispanics and them. They be having like 100, they be having like 10 kids and stuff. You know, but that's valuable right there. They understand the value of a family. And that's why even like our grandparents, great grandparents, having about 8 kids. Everybody living in one house, you know, but they understood the value of the family. But when it comes down to, you know, when you're dealing with the world, value is material, substance, you know. But
Isn't it easier for a camera to go through our hole of a needle?
it's not easy. But that's just to let you know how hard it is for a rich man to enter into the kingdom.
Right. Right.
So, is it wrong to be rich?
No, this is what you do with them.
Let's read,
She said as long as you tie.
I mean, you don't get the right back. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get it to you right back. You're gonna double it too sometimes, you know?
let's go to Ecclesiastes 10. Read Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 19.
A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things.
Right, so money answers all things, right? But at what measure?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Ecclesiastes 10 and 19. The money answer all things. Why? Because what? You gotta pay your bills. You gotta have money to pay your bills. You gotta have money to put gas in your car. If you wanna drive, you need money to buy a car. You need money to buy an apartment. So money do answer all things. Let's go to is that 7?
Where?
Look,
Where? 7 and 12?
yeah, that's exactly what I want. Ecclesiastes 7:12. Looking for that. But let's not get it twisted, though. It said money answer all things. But let's not get it twisted. Ecclesiastes 7. You pick up at verse 12.
For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense.
Oh, money is a defense. It is a defense. When you're in trouble, you can use it.
Yep.
You know, you need bail money. You know, you need, it says for wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. But what, brother?
But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
Oh, but wisdom giveth life. Money don't give life. So you want to put your stock, you want to put more of your stock in wisdom than in money. You want to put more of your time in wisdom than in money. You know, but money, it do answer some things, and it is a defense. But if you ain't, got that wisdom, you allow that money to rule over your life. And before you know what you be doing, matter of fact, let's go to Peter. Let's go to Peter. Yes, 1 Peter. First Peter. I'm sorry. 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy, I'm sorry. 1 Timothy, that's what I want. 1 Timothy chapter 6. That's what I want. 1 Timothy chapter 6. Pick it up at verse 10.
For the love of money is the root of all evil.
Oh, for the love of money is the root of all evil. We all read that money is a defense. We all read that. So money is never the issue. It's the love of money. That's the issue. So for the love of money is the root of all evil. What are you willing to do for that dollar? You willing to sell drugs for that dollar? You willing to get up on that stage for $1? Are you willing to steal for that dollar? So for the love of money is the root of all evil. Go ahead, brother.
But thou, O man of God, flee these things. Oh, hold on. Yeah.
Got it.
I didn't finish that one. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after.
That's right.
They have erred from the faith.
Oh, they erred from the faith.
And pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
Wow, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they lust after, they have erred from the truth, so they left the truth for this money. They erred from the truth. And it says, they have erred from the faith. I'm sorry, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows, because that's all it is. It's a bunch of sorrows when you're dealing with money. You know, men have degraded themselves. Women have degraded themselves for this mighty dollar. But money is never the issue. It's the love of money. Go ahead, brother.
And then when it says they coveted after and erred from the faith, like us, I mean, I'm just being real. Sometimes I'll be praying, God, give me a better paying job so I'm able to pay my bills better. I mean, I'm not trying to run off the Sabbath day or trying to run off and do something. Like, I still do desire that, like the Lord says, pray and put me in my will. So there's nothing wrong with praying and trying to, at least get things where you are able to function a little bit better. But
Right.
coveting after and leaving the Sabbath day, stop keeping the feast days, becoming a sinner, or that's what that's talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just erring. It is not like you can still desire to have more money,
Well,
but that's something that can fulfill a need that you may need. Like, I don't really like borrowing on a credit card and not having enough money to pay my rent. So I don't really desire that.
because it says they have erred from the faith. Excuse me. Oh man, they have erred from the faith. So when you err from the faith, that means you're going against the word of God for this money. You know, we all desire to have more. There's nothing wrong with that to want more, but sometimes we just be living amongst our means, though. You know what I mean? Like that be really just be the case. We come home with a $400 check every week, but yet we talking about we want the iPhone 10, which is like probably like $1,000. Why would you want that? Knowing you got car note, car insurance, rent, grocery bill, light bill. You need clothes. You need shoes on your feet. So you actually can afford
All that on 400.
on a $400 check a week, $1,000 phone. Do you really need that $1,000 phone? And once you get that $1,000 phone, now you gotta pay the bills on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much. We all can use a little more, but sometimes we can just eliminate some of the extra stuff that we don't need in our lives, and then we can live a little more comfortable. Because the Lord is definitely blessing us, But sometimes we just look at the world. The world, we get tripped up in this world, and that's the issue. There's nothing wrong with having a house. A mortgage, something that you can. I ain't talking about just renting a house. I'm talking about like a mortgage, where you can just leave to your kids. It's nothing wrong with that. But I don't need a 10-bedroom house.
10 bedroom.
Or you can have 10 homes.
8 bedrooms.
Hey, if you're a good business person, you have people like that. That's good business people. You know what I'm saying? But if that's at the same time, if that's not the Lord's will, that ain't the Lord's will for you. Sometimes we can just be going outside the Lord's will.
I don't need a woman food in the country.
True.
But
Oh, I have another question.
okay.
Okay, Nimrod. I was reading something, but it wasn't super accurate. But I was wondering about Nimrod and the origins of sun worship, and if there was something about like subliminally, like a god that you're serving, like that, like deceived, but like being from the origin of like Nimrod. I'm not sure anything else.
What's that?
Tammuz.
Tammuz? Yeah.
What's that?
That's Nimrod's son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all. See, that always goes back, like you were saying, sun worship. That's what the people. That's what they're gonna be doing tomorrow. And putting Jesus' name on it.
So where in the Bible does it talk about like Nimrod or like understanding that or his son?
Well, they mentioned Nimrod in Genesis. What's that, 10?
Yeah.
Nimrod.
No.
Yeah, he's a Hamite.
Yeah, it was just 10.
Bless you. You need that checked out, man. Ooh, wee. That's why he's gonna be a piece of brain
That's right.
fragment in the carpet. Yeah, that's something you want to read?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Genesis chapter 10. We're going to pick this up at verse 6. 6, and we're going to skip around. I ain't going to do you with the names. You're going to skip, you're going to read verse 6. and verse 6 and jump down to 8.
And the sons of Ham, Cush,
Cush.
and Mizraim,
Yeah, Mizraim, that's just another name for Egypt.
and Put, and Canaan.
And Canaan, verse 8.
And Cush begat Nimrod.
Oh, so Cush begot Nimrod. So Cush is the son of Ham, which would be a son of Noah. Ham was one of Noah's kids, and he had a son named Cush, and Cush begot Nimrod. Go ahead.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before the Lord. In the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and
yeah, and all I ain't gonna do it like that. All that was in the land of Shinar. You know, but he just, he was a Hamite.
And Hamites were African?
Yes.
Okay. And what does it mean he was a mighty hunter before the Lord?
But my wisdom on that is he was a good statured person in the eyes of the Lord.
Okay.
He was a mighty hunter. It ain't like he was serving the Lord. He wasn't serving the Lord.
Okay.
Was that kind of like what Esau? When Esau was like, he was a man of the field.
Right.
And he was
a mighty hunter.
Is there something that Esau? Can we look at that? It said that Jacob was a smooth person.
He was a
dwelling
tent
in
person.
tents.
Yeah.
Can we read it? What it said? Kind of correlate.
Right.
Did it say something about Esau as like a mighty hunter or something?
Red as a hairy garment.
Yeah, we can read that. Oh,
Genesis 25.
I'm doing my stuff. Let's go to Genesis. Is that Genesis? No.
Should be 25.
Genesis 25. Right. Genesis 25. Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 25. We're just going to pick up when they was coming out the womb.
25.
Verse 25. 25 and 25.
And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Right, so it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, so he was always out in the field. And I guess you tying that into Nimrod as being a mighty hunter. I can see the similarities. You know, about Nimrod. But Nimrod was king. That's the difference between him and Esau.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
Esau is the nation that's going to be wiped out?
Oh, yeah.
She got it.
Yeah,
She get it.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, which is, I do it. But, yeah, Nimrod, yeah, he was a king. It said in, the mighty hunter for the Lord, wherefore it said, even Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom was battle. And Erab and Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Yeah. So I need to, let's see.
Yeah, there we go, right now. Right, you talking about the tower, they tried to build that thing, that Lord, yeah, going out.
And this was like a kind of
Land of Shinar. Where, when you go back to,
After this,
when you go before the land was split, I mean, not the land was split, but before the nations was split.
so we actually live nicely, like, together.
And now this was after when the nations, when they was all at one, it was all one nation. Then the Lord had found their language and scattered it. But it was all in the land of Shinar.
so interesting.
We got more.
Yeah, I just have one more about the diet. Deuteronomy 14, verse 21.
Deuteronomy 14. Of that verse.
Of verse 21. Well, yeah, basically, I didn't really understand the very last line was really what got my attention.
Go ahead and read that, brother.
Verse 21.
Yes.
Ye
Yes,
shall not
Deuteronomy 14 and 21.
ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself.
Right, so something that just die on its own.
Yeah, you can't.
Go ahead.
You got that one.
Yeah, I got that.
It's the last part of it.
Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not seeth a kid in his mother's milk.
Right. So
That was really what caught my attention about the mother's milk. What does that mean?
They're talking about a goat, right?
right.
Oh,
Like a goat, a baby goat is a kid, right? Yeah, that's it.
what? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah, we talk. Yeah, we talk.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, okay. Well, that explains that. So wait, that means.
Yeah, we talk about animals here.
Okay, so that means that.
Yeah, it said thou shalt not cook a kid in his mother's milk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what seeth is.
Oh, that's what seed means.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well then that's clear enough for me.
Cool. Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't eat people and their mamas and
This is strange.
What would that be like? Cooking the milk with the baby inside of it?
Just trying to use this,
No, what?
What do you
like
think?
cannibals or something. I think I can see
I wanna see.
lecture.
Cook. Say cook the baby.
Yeah.
So what?
That's something like
Baby
that.
goat and some goat milk.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't cook.
Don't cook the baby goat and goat milk.
Is that what it says? Let's get it from.
What's that?
When it says don't cook it in the mother's milk, it's saying don't cook a baby goat in goat milk. Is that what it says?
Yeah, it's in his mother's milk.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe somebody else want milk.
Yeah. It's kind of grimy.
You might be saying why it's nursing. Don't cook it. Don't kill it.
No.
Nursing. Mother's milk. You know what I'm saying? Just starting.
I'm not gonna say no to that.
Why would you cook it down? Why?
Don't you?
How's that
But
a
sometimes you
concept?
gotta slay a lamb of the first year, right?
The first year.
Yeah.
Male lamb. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
By the end, he's not on the milk no more, is he?
No, you better not.
There's some 1-year-old. One thing about humans, there's 1-year-old babies that
That's called baby in your child.
Animals grow up.
now actually the longer you breastfeed a child, it shows that
Yeah,
the
he breastfeed.
smarter it'll be. Because that breast milk
Yeah,
is
him do that.
Well, in his mother's milk. But I'm saying is
Over 2 years.
don't
Stop that.
like don't see it for kid. I'm thinking about in his youth.
That's one thing.
Hey, bro, it's getting.
Because if he's still drinking milk, that means he's young.
Stop. Like, he was about 29. He was 29.
That's what do not see if a kid in
Yeah,
his
no,
mother's milk. That means it's still a baby.
No, I said he didn't.
so don't
Why is in his youth?
so we shouldn't be eating baby goats. We shouldn't be cooking baby goats. Cause like
It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not see a kid in his mother's milk." That's what it means.
okay, so then when it's done being milked, then we can cook.
Yeah. Yeah, he ain't no milk no more. He grown.
So until then, it ain't ready to be.
Yeah.
That's why I ain't ready to put no curry.
Alright, we can. I can take that. That works.
I mean, that's common sense anyway. I feel like, why would I want to eat a goat just being born after like 3 weeks? That's just you want me. That's just mean.
Like that, yeah, I was just about to say.
That's just
Baby
cruel.
cows.
I'm gonna at least let them grow up a little bit, eat a little
But
grass.
even
with
then,
their mom
it
and
might
stuff.
still be off the milk. That bill on.
Put some curry in it. Curry goat.
Cover all that up. Can't even taste it anymore. Did it?
Curry.
Okay, but at the same time, like when is a child ready to eat?
I guess that depends on.
When they off the milk.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, they
isn't-
start growing teeth. Now I can feed you some food. Enough of this, man.
Yeah.
You know, you tearing me up. So enough of this. So now you can eat some of this food here because you have teeth now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's verses about a child being weaned from the mother. And there might be like more meaning about it.
Eat the child while you being weaned.
Yeah.
Hey man,
That's wrong.
I don't eat the teeth anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah, but I know
Don't eat the mother while the child. Don't eat the
Talk
mother
about,
goat while the child is still on the breast milk.
That's what dealing with the word of God.
Okay.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're a babe, you're not supposed to be, you know, not gonna give you too much, but you a babe in the word.
Okay.
You know, so I'm gonna give you just, you know, a little bit until you start growing, developing here. Now we can start talking about prophecies and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what we talking about.
can you re-explain that part to her? Cause she left and that was her question about the like what it meant to not see the.
Right. Yeah, it says, yeah, that's what I read. It says, "Thou shalt not see if the kid in his mother's milk because it's young. It's a baby."
Seasoning's cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, she means cooking,
Okay.
but thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk, right? Because baby, it's still a baby,
Okay.
so it still needs it has some growing in it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I thought it was referencing a mother with a baby.
Nah.
That's what
Nah,
I was
because when you, because you talk about the dietary law here,
Yeah.
when you read it, you know, you're dealing with the dietary law. You're dealing with things to eat and things that you cannot eat, right?
Okay.
Anything else?
Oh.
Yes, that's it. What's up, brother, man?
Time to set up shop.
That's it? You don't have no more questions? Going once, going twice, Sister Chloe.
Hey.
Huh? What's up?
I want to make sure if I don't remember if you ruined this for me. Yeah, I'm sure. What about like we got our NFL teams and we buy like the logo to the teams, like we buy logos to teams. Is that like idol worship?
Nah, because we don't idol worship.
So I gotta throw my
That's the
Baltimore
difference between
Ravens
us and
towel.
them. We don't idol worship.
So I gotta throw my Baltimore Ravens towel away.
Nah, it's just a towel.
Okay.
It has no meaning.
You waked it to God.
Oh yeah, you're right. So I'm good. Yeah, I'm good on that one.
Yeah.
Good. Go ahead, take
In the name of the Baltimore Ravens. That's what you gotta do. When you start praying. Get rid of that.
I do pray.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debt,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
For he is good.
His mercy endures forever.
His mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endures forever.
And his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel.
The King of Kings.
The King of Kings.
The Lord of Lords.
Lord of Lords.
The one true God.
The one true God.
And there is no other.
There is no other.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
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 In Jesus' name.
In
Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
No.
When I button this up all the way over, like ice cube,